Hi everyone. I am here with my favorite person today. I can't have favorites.
That oh, you like backed into a compliment and you
Yeah.
backed right out of that again.
I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna be a liar. I'm gonna. People know that I literally can't lie. Everyone knows that, so I'm not gonna lie. You're my favorite person of the moment, of the next
Thank you.
2 hours
I'm
at
still
least.
honored to have made the right now list.
So Anna, do you want to introduce yourself, your name, what you do, how you know me briefly? We'll explore that later, but just a quick little, who are you?
Yeah. So my name is Anna Mirer. I am a family physician in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and I found Dibs when I was looking for somebody to train me. And specifically, I was looking for someone who wasn't going to engage in body shaming and was going to respect my weird brain. And it turns out that person exists, and it's Dibs.
Amazing. And how long have you been a family physician for?
Oh, 6 years, I guess. Is that right?
6 years.
Yeah, 6 years.
Yeah, COVID time is weird. Um, and so I guess you wanted to find me for those reasons, but tell me a little bit about like your past with fitness, with exercise. I mean, give me some little snippets of sort of what you've been into physical exercise wise from childhood to now, like just the little bits of whether you've done sport or your solo stuff, what you've tried, for how long you stuck to it, etc., etc.
Yeah. No, not sports. Anything but sports. I am the opposite of your biography that way. No, I was a dance kid from a very young age, and I loved it, and I still love to dance, but I wound up kind of dropping out of it out of, absorbed a lot of that perfectionistic culture. And when it became clear I was not going to be a Broadway star or anything like that, then I dropped out partly because it was also tied up in body image stuff that I was like, well, I'm not thin, so clearly I'm not meant to be a dancer. And a little bit later, in my teenage years, the dance coach kind of, spotted me in the back of the morning aerobics class and was like, I think she's a dancer, and like dragged me back into that world. And I've always been really grateful for that. But no, the only sport I could ever stand was swimming. And beyond that, like anything involving small round objects, a ball or anything like ball adjacent is pure torture. And I'm so bad at it that I make it no fun for everybody else. So my attempts to find ways to move my body have to be a little creative. Anything, it doesn't have to actually be dance, but something with a choreography element to it, like kickboxing, stuff like that, I'm into. But as I grew and matured and started to develop a healthier relationship with my body, it's hard, I became more picky, and I, wanted my exercise to be a time that I could relax and get away from those intrusive thoughts and get away from the onslaught of that we all deal with all day in our culture. And so I started looking for ways to exercise in a safer space, which increasingly meant exercising alone. And that's what I did for a long time. And of course, I was in medical school and being a mother of young children, which made it pretty hard to make that time for myself. But then COVID actually really helped with that, because suddenly there are all these ways to exercise at home that didn't used to exist. And that really was the time when I got the most consistent of like, oh, I actually can exercise every day. And I feel fantastic when I exercise every day. And then I found you, and that really brought me to another level.
I love that you drew the similarity between kickboxing and dancing, the choreography.
I mean,
I
the
just
kind I do, the kind that's like as related to real kickboxing as like playing Mortal Kombat. Like I
yeah.
could not win a fight
Yeah,
at
but yeah, I
all.
just like having those things in the same sort of, I don't know, group of whatever, group of activities. And yeah, I really love how you said like COVID opened up your world to figure out like that you can do other things. Like I love that it got you to be creative, and that's what I keep trying to tell people is that you don't like people say, oh, I don't work out because I don't like going to the gym, or I don't work out because I don't like sports. But like you said, there are so many other ways to move your body, and you can say, yeah, I work out, and not do the traditional ways of what people think working out is. And so I always tell my clients, like, find something that brings you joy, like you say, like that helps you move in a creative way, and do it. Like, just on the weekend, I went to the Ninja Factory in Montreal, which is like this children's inflatable playground where it's like, I don't know, Ultimate Beastmaster for kids, whatever, and there's like those spinny things, and you like duck under one and jump over the other one, and they're like turning, and it's like, who cares if that's not a non-conventional sort of way of exercising, right? Um, so with me, what have you noticed? What have been your most exciting, or I don't know, most rewarding changes that you've seen in your, like, could be like your attitude, your mindset, your body, your strength, like what?
Oh, all of the above.
Yeah.
So first of all, because you get me to do this stuff that I was never going to do, you know, I mean, even if I knew what these exercises were, and I don't because I've never heard of half of them, like I was never going to do that on my own because it's hard and because I would have to count, we haven't touched on my neurodivergence yet much, but like actually holding those numbers in my brain is like so much cognitive work, and like you taking that off my shoulders makes such a big difference. Um, and I've seen myself progress in my physical strength so much in the time we've been working together that that's become really self-reinforcing, and it's really helped me to have a new kind of appreciation for my own body in those moments of gratitude, like because we all need them sometimes. We all need a little gratitude practice, and to have times when I'm like, is my body perfect? Whatever perfect means this morning. Like, no, but can I waiters carry 44 pounds? Apparently I can. Thank you, Dibs. You know.
That's awesome. And yes, speaking of the neurodivergent, so I guess my plan is to interview a lot of people who are, the outsiders of the fitness world, just like my intro says. So people who are a little bit different, who are a little bit not so vanilla in whatever way of their brain or body or that society deems to be the normal way of doing things. So what about you? What would you like to share about yourself, whether it's a physical cognitive disability or neurodivergence or whatever? What would you like to share about for the people listening, so maybe that they can relate to you in a way?
Yeah. So brain-wise, I'm a late diagnosed with ADHD, and I honestly really only wound up getting a diagnosis because I trained as a physician, because I would otherwise have not known. I did not know till like into my 40s that not everybody's brain works this way. I was always just mad at myself all the time. And it wasn't until patients started coming to me and saying, I think I might have ADHD, can you screen me? That, I started being like, oh, look at this. My answer to all of these things is yes. And apparently that's not normal. And then I kind of pursued a more formal diagnosis, and yep, I super duper have it. I'm not hyperactive though. Like I'm a fidgeter, but I was never that. Like I could be a full-on loaf. I could totally happily spend my entire day in bed. I do need to intellectually remind myself how much better I feel when I exercise and how much better my brain works when I exercise, because exercise is really my main ADHD treatment right now. I'm not on medication specifically for that. So, I really rely on having a consistent exercise routine to like be a functioning human being. Um, and I guess another relevant piece of my demographics is to know that I'm fat, and that is, a word that I embrace. And it part of the story for exercise and me is, for in the early part of my life, exercise was very closely tied to weight loss, and I do have a history of disordered eating as well. So learning to separate those things and find the joy in exercise, to do it for my health and to feel good, and you know that it could actually be like a leisure activity that you choose to engage in for its own enjoyment. Like these are things I had to teach myself as an adult, and it's been it's so important to my well-being, but it's also something that I need a lot of support with, and it's really that is one of the gifts that you give me every week, is being that person who sort of provides that for me.
That's very sweet. I feel like I give a lot of gifts. You're telling me like, it's many gifts. Everyone come and train with me.
This is
Um,
why I refer to you to my friends as Dibs the fitness angel.
that's adorable. I should get little shirts made with me as a little graphic angel, just with my white glasses and my little wings that have like ridiculous muscles on them. I don't know how you would draw that. I don't know. It looks like a little bit like haunted, but So with the like going back to how you said like you feel like exercise helps you with your ADHD. Um, I mean, well, I have two questions coming. My brain. Let's separate them. So one, personally, like, what? Explain more about that. Like, how do you feel the difference is between days that you don't exercise and days that you do, with your concentration and stuff like that? Is it like a sort of? Do you feel like a long-lasting effect? Is it all day you feel more sharp, or for a couple hours after you feel like you're capable to do tasks? Like, just talk about that a bit more.
Yeah. I in my case, I don't know that all the effects are direct because I think a lot of it is to do that it helps with my anxiety, and then that helps indirectly with my attention symptoms. Um, so I'll tell you this story. There was one day when my daughter left her school laptop at home. And so she was texting me on the way to school, like, bring me my laptop, please, please, please. And I'm being like, no, that's not how we parent. Solve your own problems. And she's like, please, please, please. And so we worked out this deal where I would bring her the laptop and skip my workout in exchange for her cleaning both the bathrooms. And so I did that, and I skipped my workout that day. And then I went to work, and of course it's all over the place. And at the end of the day, my medical assistant is like, yo, that bathroom better be spotless, because she was like so over with dealing with me. So I think there are some like immediate short-term effects that help my concentration. But part of it too is just like I can concentrate better when I feel good, and I can concentrate better when there isn't that like background anxiety of like, oh, am I going to get my workout in today, or is something going to come up and bump that off the list. So doing that first thing in the morning, and then having the rest of the day to kind of feel good and feel accomplished and feel like that's crossed off the list, whether it's directly affecting my attention or just contributing these other ways, like it definitely, I notice a big difference.
I feel like that example slash experiment is also affected by like the change in routine. That really throws me off as well.
Good point. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. It,
I know
it,
you
it
like your
also helps
routine.
kind of set to do it at the same time every day. Yeah.
And the other side of
Although,
the
I
question.
definitely identified with what you said in your previous episode about like the
uh
novelty thing and the routine
mhm.
thing, because I apparently want it both ways, because I need things to be different each time where I get bored. But at the
Mhm.
same time, if like my kickboxing instructor has a guest instructor one day, I'm like, this is new, don't like it.
Yeah,
I need predictability and routine.
yeah. It needs to be predictable enough, but novel enough to stay interested. And that's why I like. I think that's the beauty of like when I make programs for people and they go for 4 weeks at a time. Like even people who I don't train personally, they just go with the program and go off and do their own thing. Like the thing that's consistent is that they have to do this routine how many times a week they're committed to, whether it be 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever times a week. That's the consistent part. That is the routine. That's the stabilizing part of it all. And then the fact that the exercise has changed once a month, it keeps it fresh enough that they're like, okay, on to the next thing. So I feel like that is usually generally works for most people. Some people need a little bit more accountability, and that's a whole different story. But yeah, I don't know how you feel about that, but I really like that setup for myself.
Yeah, I do. And it has been counterintuitive to me that it's actually easier to exercise every day than to exercise 4 days a week.
Yeah,
But I guess
right.
it's that routine piece.
It is, yeah, it is. It's so strange when you have like a weekend, and then by Monday you feel all like awry and frazzled because you haven't done the same thing, like whether it be the same thing or at the same time or whatever.
Hmm.
And from your background and current life as a doctor, as a very smart, I watched your cute little TikTok video with your mom just before.
I knew my mom was going to be like a social media star. She's like born for this.
Yeah, everyone's mom, all those videos with mums go so much more viral than the ones without the mums. So yes, bring back more mama, please, to the video. Yeah. So in with your doctor brain, I don't know. Is there any ADHD fitness facts that you know or studies, or give me any fun things that you can throw out that you've read that are in your head about fitness and neurodivergence?
Well, I have a lot of thoughts on this. I definitely subscribe to the idea of a prescription for exercise, and that movement is medicine, because there are a lot of, you want the right tool for the right job, right? And a lot of the time, movement is the right tool for the job, for what
Mm.
somebody's coming in for. So like top of that list would be depression and anxiety. Like there's excellent evidence that this makes a huge difference to long-term outcomes, like possibly even more so than medication. And so that's a tool I want pretty much everybody to be using. You know, maybe their symptoms are really mild, maybe they're really severe, maybe there's someone who'd benefit from counseling, maybe they wouldn't, maybe they benefit from medication, maybe they wouldn't. But like almost universally, with very few exceptions, I'm going to recommend finding some way to move their body in an enjoyable, sustainable way. And that's something that maybe doesn't get the attention that it deserves in the medical world, partly because doctors are so pressed for time that it takes less time to say, okay, I'm starting you on this medication at this dose, than to say, let's brainstorm what's a way for you to move, what's worked for you, what's a realistic goal that you can set, how are we going to set up some accountability for you, and that takes a more holistic approach than I think the job allows many doctors to take. And the other way that I feel like it's really important is for prevention. There's so many diseases that, I don't want to oversimplify, but diabetes is the first thing that comes to mind because it's so common. And no, not everybody can completely prevent diabetes by exercising, but it's a really powerful tool. I should say prevention and treatment both for diabetes. Like it's really, really important. And I've seen patients, make absolutely remarkable turnarounds and really reverse a lot of their insulin resistance when they get a sustainable physical activity routine. Then that's something that, again, almost universally recommend no matter what else is going on with the big picture for a patient. So, I really think it would make sense as a country if we were like, how can we get every person a personal trainer? How can we get everybody access to a gym? How can we get everybody like physical education that's actually going to do them good as they grow out of childhood to adulthood? Like, I think that would be much more beneficial than a lot of the things we currently spend money on, at least in the US.
Yeah, that's very right. In Australia right now, there's a few organizations that are trying to find a way to do just that, to have personal trainers or at least like a gym membership be way more accessible to everybody in the way that you can, claim it on your health insurance or get like a massive tax cut or get like money that goes towards it every week from whatever situation. Because like it would take a huge strain off of our healthcare system, like you're saying. If everyone can do that, it's just one step out of the the holistic lifestyle changes that you can make, but it's a big step. And I think it's a very easy one. Like the barriers that are there right now, when we like can just peek over the other side, like and then get through. Like there's really not that much you need to learn. Like it's just you just get your foot in the door. Like cute story. Today I was running my class this morning, and a friend that turned into a client from like 2-3 years ago. She came inside because she's actually she's going to go move to Australia from Montreal. She's actually French. She came in to see me. She surprised me at work, and she's like, "Dibs, like I just want to say thank you so much. Like you allowed me to be able to like go into the gym, and like I'm not afraid now to like go into the gym and work out on my own because you showed me the basics." And she just came in and gave me a hug. She's like, "I'm flying out tonight," and I was like, "Oh my god, this is such a sweet surprise." And it was just so like cool to think that I could help someone, like just cross that bridge, and now she's able to go into a gym and not be like, am I going to hurt myself, or is someone going to tell me I'm doing this thing wrong? Because like we only worked out together for maybe 6 months or so, and I built up her confidence, and now she's like, yeah, to have that effect on someone is really, really cool. And I think that fitness is definitely it's unnecessarily inaccessible.
Yeah, yeah. And you're so right about the it's easy to underestimate the psychological and emotional barriers, but it's a big part of it for a lot of people is the, feeling unwelcome at the gym, feeling like people are looking at them, feeling like their body is something people are criticizing, or that they don't know what they're doing. And this is for other kinds of people who are good at sports as a kid or whatever, or people who are healthier than you, people who look a certain way. That makes it so intimidating to even jump in and get started. And I think most people kind of need guidance.
And you seem very confident at the gym now. Well, I don't know, the two selfies that I've seen of you at the gym, you seem pretty happy with yourself. I don't know how full the gym was at the time, but do you think your I don't know, confidence of going to the gym has changed since you started training with me?
Well, I've always sort of, I was a gym user from a fairly young age, so I think I knew enough to sort of feel like, well, I have a right to be here. Um, I haven't always enjoyed being there, I'll say that. And a big thing was when I finally got to a place in my life that I could afford, gym clothes that I felt like looked good on me. That made a huge difference because I was always slightly embarrassed to be rolling up in my ratty sweats and like I don't have pockets in this, so I'm sticking my phone in my bra strap or whatever. I was sort of felt like people were judging me, which they probably weren't. They were probably like thinking about their heart rate or whatever. But you get those ideas. I think, and I think as I got into the idea of body size and justice, I also sort of felt like, well, screw you. I'm going to go like as a political statement, and I'm going to make there's a place that other people can belong. And
Right on.
maybe I'm not going to do it for me today. I'm going to do it for whoever's watching.
Love that.
Although that can go both ways because sometimes I think people look and they're like, but she's the same size as me and she's so much better at this than me, and I
Yeah,
and I want to be like, because I've been doing it for 20 years, honey. It's
yeah,
okay. You're just a beginner. Um, yeah,
yeah.
but
That's definitely catch
yeah.
22. I have an older client that I train, and I showed her a video of this other woman in her 60s doing like a 150 kilo deadlift for reps, like 330 pounds or whatever. And she was like, but how can she do that? And I was like, this is supposed to inspire you. She's been working out for years. You just started. It's okay. It's just like sometimes it's fun to have something to chase, you know. But yeah, I think people forget like some people definitely are just more athletic from the womb. But a lot of us, like if you have access to that as a child, or if your parents encourage that you doing those things as a child, then of course you're going to have a little bit of an edge as an adult, and then it can be like we look at people doing really cool stuff and we don't really see the work that they've put in to do that. Like even though like they've been doing it as in childhood, like it's not that there was some sort of super athlete. Like that work during childhood is still work. That's still practice. Like they're still putting in the hours to be able to do a certain skill or whatever, or make something look easy. And I think that we often overlook that and just think, oh, they're just one of those superhumans that's good at everything or really athletic and they were born like that. But that's why it's like I'm now trying to. I just posted a video the other day of posting more fails at the gym, or like the process of me trying to do something, because I mean, especially now with social media, of course, the thing that's going to get the most views is like you doing a successful, really cool trick, a calisthenics trick, or whatever it is that your sport or your hobby is. Sometimes I guess the fails go a bit viral too, if you've got a bit of a success arc going on. But yeah, most people just post the good stuff because you don't really feel the urge to set up the camera, I guess, when you're just practicing. I mean, for me, I'm just like, oh, this is such a waste of space on my phone. I'm never going to use this. But then I regret that I don't have something to compare it to once I nail a trick. I don't know how you feel about how much social media time you have that you spend. Like, do you feel like you're affected by what you see?
I mean, I actually get served a lot of like strength training, gymnastics content. Um, I don't know what I'm doing that's actually bringing that stuff up, but I try to follow the ones that have the most kind of forgiving attitudes. Like I don't really follow the ones that are like, we just destroyed all your excuses or whatever. I
Mm.
think I really appreciate the ones that are like, look, I'm an Olympian athlete, and even I can't get this skill or whatever. Like
Mhm.
those are the ones that I tend to come back to. And of course, the ones who are out there because they're in some ways representing an underrepresented group and kind of, yeah, I appreciate that stuff too.
I love how wholesome your feed is. It sounds great.
Yes, I have plenty of toxicity in my life. I really don't need it when I open up
No,
stupid Facebook.
I'm glad you're keeping it out. And I just had a little thought going back to the neurodivergent stuff. I guess, and I always feel weird when we pivot to nutrition and stuff because it's a touchy subject for a lot of people. But I feel like you're a very safe person to talk about nutrition with. I think we have a very similar ideas on it. But I was at the pharmacy yesterday picking up my meds, and they had this rack of magazines that was like cookbooks for different ailments. Which, like, yes, of course, is like low FODMAP and, gluten-free meals and vegan meals. And then they had like, cooking for diabetes. But then the one that caught my eye was like cooking for ADHD.
What?
Right. Yeah. Okay. So I was wondering if you've ever heard of this phenomenon and what you think about it, because there's a thing about people saying that you can change your how you concentrate or change your ADHD condition by changing your tweaking your diet a little bit. Have you ever heard of that?
I mean, I feel like I mainly hear about that from people who are like, medicine doesn't work, don't go on medicine, which is like, no, like if that's the right tool for you, like do that. Um, and like sugar, I feel like is the one I hear about all the time. Like people who
Yeah.
want to blame people's attention on sugar, which has been really thoroughly debunked.
Mhm.
Not that it doesn't like make a difference how you eat to like how you feel, and that can affect your attention the same way like exercise can have that indirect effect. Like you don't whatever eating healthy means for you, and that's going to be different for everybody. If you're not doing it, then you're going to feel garbagey, and then obviously your attention is going to be worse. And like same for sleep. If you don't sleep healthy, whatever healthy sleep means for you, So I guess that much I'm on board with.
Yeah.
Beyond that, I'd be really curious what's in this cookbook and how good is the evidence base.
Yeah, I think it could just be marketing. I don't know. Maybe all of the recipes are the same in every single book, just with a different cover photo of meals. I don't know.
Plus,
Um,
if you're folding autism into it too, like so many people have like a prescribed list of foods that they can stand eating, and the idea that you're gonna like just throw a couple of strips of bell peppers in there and like change how your brain works. I'm like, are you really? I don't know.
yeah, maybe not. Fair enough. Um, and I guess the other thing that I wanted to ask you about was if you had like what's your current medical journal obsession, or like what is your latest reading, what has been your latest reading material, is there anything any health related facts that you feel like you would need to share with the world that would bring joy to you for sharing with everybody?
I got a couple there. So one is, I have a strong family history of high cholesterol. My brother, who's a personal trainer like you and works out twice a day and never saw a chia seed he didn't like. He's got a crazy high cholesterol. He just called me the other day like, my cholesterol was checked, what am I going to do? So a Canadian cardiologist came up with an eating pattern called the portfolio eating plan. And this is one that I recommend a lot of times to my patients who are looking to find quote unquote natural, meaning like non-pharmaceutical ways to lower their bad cholesterol. And that's one that I've been following for a couple of years now myself. It's eating vegetarian, which I was already doing. So sorry if you love hot dogs, that'll be probably the biggest change right there. But other than that, what I like about it is it's mainly doing things, not avoiding things. So it's trying to get soy, nuts, soluble fiber, and why am I blanking on the last thing? It'll come to me in a hot second. Plant sterols, which is usually something you have to get as a supplement. But that's something that to me feels achievable. It's not like you can never eat cheese again or something like that. It's not like a really strict way. It's just like, how can I work some sliced almonds into what I'm already eating? That kind of thing. So that's one that I like. Another fun one is that kiwis are an evidence-based treatment for constipation. So if you're not one to reach for X-Lax or whatever, kiwis, go for it. There's
But like,
good
how
science
many
behind that.
kiwis do you have to eat so you can slide your doo-doo right out?
I would say feel empowered to adjust your own dose.
I love that. Okay, fun. Is there a magic third fact?
I am fond of reminding people that garlic is good for lowering blood pressure, because I feel like a lot of us just feel like, oh, good, I'm already doing that.
That's great. Garlic is delicious, and I do know a lot of people who are trying to lower their blood pressure, so that is a really hot tip. Everybody, and you know what? I love making out with people who smell like garlic because I just feel like I'm getting a meal and a makeout.
There's just something
Please,
about someone who cares for their cardiovascular health that is so hot.
yeah, I know. I'm like, oh, you're so healthy.
Yeah.
Also, I don't know. I
Like
hate
on the
I
scale
can't
of
do
metoprolol, no, but it can help a little.
I can't do coffee. I'm like, if you drink coffee, brush your teeth immediately because I don't want to kiss your coffee mouth. But garlic, yes. I don't know. And give me what is your favorite lift? Just a fun fact.
like muscle lift,
Yeah,
like
exercise.
fat
Your
lift.
favorite lift. Your favorite move at the gym.
So at the gym, then I would say hip adductors. This is like
Hmm.
my secret talent. I just like it because it's easy. That's the only reason I like it. Because just for some reason, this muscle group is like 12 times stronger than the whole rest of my body. And like I really think that in a pinch, I could kill a man with my thighs, like Famke Jensen in that Bond movie. And you know, you wouldn't guess it from watching me do planks, but this is my one hidden talent, so I love doing that one.
I'm the opposite of you. My abductors are the MVP. I don't know why. Maybe because did a lot of kicking sports as a kid, but that's sort of forward, not sideways. I really don't know. But maybe it's because I'm flat-footed also. But you're also flat-footed, aren't you?
No, I'm the opposite. I've got the high rigid
High arch.
arch,
Well, there we go.
and I
Ooh,
underpronate.
we're scientists. We're drawing conclusions. Look at us go. And have you ever had like any terrible experiences with a fitness coach, or walked into a gym and the salespeople are really gross, or you're, I think I remember you telling me you had a good and a bad like high school PE teacher experience or something.
Yep, yep. So the good one was Ms. Morash, and I hope she's having a great life out there wherever she is. But she was like, she was just really, she was really inclusive, just naturally. That was just who she was. And she would, like, I was on the she was the swim coach, and I was on the swim team, and I was easily the worst person on the swim team. And there's one other girl on the team. She and I had like easier workouts that we would do so that we could finish in the same amount of time as everybody else. And very clearly, I was never going to help this team win anything. And at the time, I was like, I don't understand. Like, why am I here? Why is she letting me be on the team? And it was only later that I was like, oh, because she's a teacher, and she thought I might get something out of it. Like, mind blown, because that was just so not my experience with PE teachers in any other context. But she was awesome, and I like hear her voice in my head every day, because I can remember her saying, if you're up on the diving block and you're looking over at the next swimmer and going, oh wow, look at the muscles on that one, I'll never keep up, you're going to miss the whistle.
Hmm.
So I like remind myself of that on kind of a daily basis. So
I
thank
love
you,
that.
Ms. Morash. You know, you're probably retired now, but whatever. I'm sure you're
Hopefully,
still a mom.
hopefully. I don't know in your country.
Yeah, and the bad ones. I mean, take your pick. I think a lot about the male trainer at a gym that I joined one time, who was like trying to give me like a nutrition plan that I didn't ask for. And he's like, oh, you're a vegetarian, so you should eat rice and beans together, because otherwise, because like that's a complete protein. And I was like, oh, well, that's interesting. Like, are we talking about like amino acid composition, like what we're talking about here? And I'm like, what do you mean it's a complete protein? Like, why can't I just eat beans? And he's like, because it's not a complete protein. And I would be like, but what? And he just kept saying, it's not a complete protein. And that was
Yeah,
just like it. That's all he had. And I was like, you
yeah,
do not know what you're talking about, sir. Could you please
no,
just say I don't know, so we can all move
yeah.
on with our lives? Yeah, so he was probably like bottom of the list.
Yeah, I think it's something that is a bit of a trap. Like my clients often will hear those things like, yeah, it's not this thing. You should do this and this because it's not a complete protein, or you should eat this and this because the caveman did it. And they're like, but Dibs, is it true? This person's not really explaining. They're just saying facts. And I think it's very important as any sort of professional to know when you don't know something, and to tell people, I'm actually not sure. Let me look that up for you. I love I feel like if I say it right now, my phone will wake up. But Google when I ask it a question, my client's asking me, oh, what would happen if I did this, or I have a really sweet neurodivergent client that is full of questions. Like the whole session is just like, I watched this anime, and do you think that could be possible in real life? If this guy, could someone, what would happen if if this person lifted this thing, and I'm like, okay, let's just let's just put that answer to Google's test and see what happens. But yeah, like I think a lot of in Australia, I don't know how it is in Canada and in the States when you get your personal training course certificate, whatever. But I did like some nutrition in it, so I had a little bit of a background. But when you graduate, you're not actually supposed to give people nutrition advice. Like you're not actually
Mm.
qualified to make a food plan or to do any of that stuff. But people just do it anyway because it's is an easy upsell. It's like how they can add value. For the people that are just listening, I just did air quotes. But like, yeah, I think it's really dangerous to do that. And I stopped. I did it too when I first graduated. Of course, I was like, they're telling me, you got to make a food plan with everyone, and I was like, okay, well, here, I'll do it. And then thank goodness, like a few months later, I was like, this is dumb. Like, I'm not a nutritionist. I'm not a dietitian. I haven't done like any other nutrition qualifications, certificates. So I give people like guidance, but I'm not going to make you a food plan or whatever because I don't know enough about the science of food. And yes, I'm constantly learning, and I pick up new facts and whatever, and I share them with my clients. But I'm not out here giving just because, just just because you need to eat it because it's my way, because some other dude bro with a podcast told me to.
But honestly, I feel like that's how a lot of doctors get their nutrition information too. Like it
From
really
podcast.
drives me crazy when like, well, we don't get that much nutrition training in med school, honestly. And so, it really drives me crazy when a patient of mine has seen a doctor who will be like, "We want to lose weight, cool, 1,200 calories a day," and I'm like, that should not be the answer probably for anybody, but it definitely should not be your answer for every single patient because different bodies have different calorie requirements. Like even if we were going to like turn off our brains and just do the calories in, calories out thing, you still have to do a calculation like based on what this person weighs and like their age and their, sex assigned at birth. Like what is their calorie requirement likely to be for how much they move? And like they're not even thinking about it that hard. So it really bugs me when people get basically the same advice from a doctor that they could get from a personal trainer who wasn't trained in nutrition, because
Yeah.
we're the people everyone says go see your doctor if get help. And I'm like, well, how much help are you really getting if that's what your doctor is telling you? Yeah.
Yeah, that bugs me. Like I have a lot of friends that are in the medical profession, and I have a few clients that are in the medical profession, and I love them to pieces, and I especially love the ones like I feel like everyone that's close to me is the same as you. Like your limits, and you're not gonna tell people the wrong thing, and you like you said before, you want to take that holistic approach, and it's not necessarily easy to do that if you don't have enough time with the patient, right? And I think that because I know that, and I know that all of the people around me who are in the medical profession tell me they don't have enough time with the patients to tell to lead them through this whole thing that could benefit them without medication or in collaboration with medication that they're on. And sometimes I'm like, I just like I could get sued if I say to do something without checking, with your doctor first. But then I know that the doctor is just going to say, "Oh, don't do that. It's too dangerous," or "Don't try that," or like just send them to another medical like specialist that is going to cost them an astronomical amount of money to see. When I'm like,
Or just now, it's like just start them on one of those injectable weight loss drugs. Like people are just handing them out
yeah,
so thoughtlessly.
yeah. And it's just
Yeah.
really frustrating because I'm like, I know how to help you, but like, I know you said your doctor said to do this instead, and I don't want to say that I'm smarter than your doctor because I'm probably not, but they're just like, it's hard for me to explain to people, and I feel like I sound like a bit of a know-it-all. Like, and I don't want to be that guy that, you go to the dog park and then the guy's like, hey, you need to trim your dog's nails more, or like, you shouldn't have done that, or like but I feel like I
Does
don't
that
know.
happen a lot at the dog park? People have a lot of critique for like dog pedicures.
I don't know. It's just like this specific character that I have in my head, of like the know-it-all person that's like they think that they're like Caesar Milan, but they don't even know what breed of your dog is. I don't know. I think I'm biased because I just watched a hilarious skit on TikTok earlier today about this guy being a know-it-all dog park dude. But anyway, just the know-it-all guy in general. That's like, or I don't know. There's like, it's not always a guy. Sometimes it is a woman. It's just people with particular personalities think that they know all the things all the time, and then make you feel bad when you don't know something. But then it's just hilarious when they don't, and you can't convince them otherwise. Anyway,
Yeah,
but yeah,
I
like
always used to think I was like the one alien for like not wanting to make weight loss the solution to every health problem. But then like the turns out the dietitians that I used to work with, they all loved me. I had no idea. I was like really popular with them. And I came when I was leaving my last job, I was like handing out business cards for my new practice, to the dietitians, and there was a new person that they were training, and they're like, "This is Dr. Mirer. We like her because she like actually, she takes 24-hour dietary history. She tries to figure out what they're eating. She doesn't just throw medications at them." I'm like, "Oh, cool. Nice to have a little
I,
validation."
I love that. Yes, and you're very good at your job, and from the stories that I hear, and I would love that if you could be my doctor.
I
That would
think
be
you're
really
basing
cool.
that on what my mom said, so I don't know if we
I
should take
don't
that
know.
seriously.
We talked for a while. Are there any lasting or final topic that you want to bring up, or a question for me, or a question you wished that I hoped that I asked you during this time together?
Well, I do want to put in a plug for my new medical practice because
I was going
I
to ask you.
yes, because I am very intentionally trying to create a space that is welcoming to people of all sizes, no matter what their relationship to their body is, or what their relationship to no matter what approach they want to take to their health. I am also intentionally trying to create a space and a practice that's accommodating of neurodivergence, of which obviously we know that's a huge spectrum. I'm going to be having things like sensory friendly hours, and working with a patient who's come on as my neurodiversity consultant, because I'm full disclosure, I'm an holistic doctor, but I'm not going to go design an autism competent practice without consulting an autistic adult. And also wanted to be a practice that's welcoming of and accommodating for physical disabilities as well. And to do all of this, I have to have time with my patients. It takes time to do all these things, and to take that big picture view and give people what they need, and not, reach for the same answer to every question and the same prescription for every problem. And so to do that, I'm hanging out my own shingle and going into business for myself.
I was very impressed the other day when you told me how much time you spend with each client, which I will not disclose, because you'll have to go and find out for yourself when you go and see Anna. Which is, I was like, wow, that is amazing and very generous and very thoughtful, and yeah, I am very. I wish that more people follow your lead, and I hope that you have the best success with your business. It's very needed in the world right now. And where can people find you? You don't have to. I mean, you can just say your whole street address if you want. Otherwise, I'll list your website and your email address, or for somewhere for people to sign up to your newsletter in the show notes. But just or do you have your social media pages or a page? Give people the spiel.
Yes, so my practice is Presence Primary Care, and you can find us at presenceprimarycare.com. I'm on Instagram, I'm on TikTok, I'm on Facebook as Dr. Anna Mirer. It's spelled and pronounced like a secret admirer. Just lop off that first syllable.
Amazing. All right, Anna. Well, this was fun. You were my first guest. Congratulations.
Oh, thank you.
And I cannot wait to do it again. I'm having visions of so many fun conversations with people, and I will definitely have you on again if we want to nerd out about something else, fitness and health related.
You know,
Um,
health, medicine, these are my special interests, so I can info dump all day long.
Great. Well, if anyone listening wants to put a question in the comments, or shoot either one of us an email with questions that you'd like us to answer next time, that would be amazing, and we could, we'll put your mind at ease and have a chat about some of your favorite topics. So thank you again, Anna. I hope you have a lovely rest of your day, and I'll see you next time.
And thank you, as always, for being the architect of my well-being, and for being a role model for people who can build a business on inclusivity.
Fitness Angel. I'm going to put it on a shirt.